an extraordinary expansion of addressable market, which I think investors are cheering, because as we move into these new markets like AI, people can continue to underestimate the size and expansion of these markets, which is what's leading to such significant growth.
I want to go back to that RPO number. That was another eye-popping number. We just talked about it just a second ago. When you look at that, that's contracted revenue. Shouldn't that give investors the confidence that we're seeing right now? Again, shares up about 29%, RPO up 455%. Doesn't that make this really solidify the fact that they have that kind of pipeline of business coming up? And doesn't that kind of, I think, at least if you're an investor, lessen the importance of the margin because we know we're getting the revenue?
Well, certainly from our side, we're very interested in what the margins, profits, and free cash flow are going to look like. But you're right. I mean, it is such an extraordinary number. Adding over $300 billion worth of contracts in 3 months. It is just something we've just never seen before. That's why it was so leading to such a powerful share price reaction. And as you say, that is coming from a new swathe of customers. People like OpenAI, given the change of those commercial terms with Microsoft, a lot of that overflow is now going to Oracle, and people like XAI, plus also the sovereign side. That's a new demand driver we've not seen during the internet era as kind of countries globally build out some AI capability themselves, given how important this technology is. So that's underpinning growth well through the decade, and that's very important from the broader capex spending and sustainability of that capex. There's been such a huge market debate for such a while now. We can start thinking with more confidence through the capex, not just next year, but into the years beyond that. And obviously that's what Jensen's been talking about in NVIDIA, about 3 to 4 trillion of infrastructure spending per annum by the end of the decade. Maybe that has a little bit more credibility after last night.
All right. Who are the winners and losers after this report, outside of Oracle and their investors, of course? We saw names like Arista Networks higher. We saw AMD higher. In your mind, are there any companies in this AI trade that are losers after this report? And just give us one or two of the biggest winners.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest change for us is we think about investing in phases. So you build out infrastructure for new technology, and then once that infrastructure is built, then you can monetize it. So we've seen, NVIDIA doing so well in the last couple of years, but then that pivoting to now that infrastructure is built out, and these guys all have these Blackwell racks, they can start monetizing through their cloud platforms. And we've seen that in acceleration at Microsoft Azure, even at Amazon Web Services. CapEx spending. So all of those CapEx plays you were highlighting before, that gives you more sort of confidence in that playing out for not just the next year, but for years to come. And that's obviously been the big debate for not just NVIDIA and the compute names, but the networking names as well. There are not too many losers out of this beyond the fact that, just in a cloud world, it was so dominated by 2 players in particular. There's going to be a little bit more breadth to that in an AI world. So again, just a little bit more market share being spread out amongst players, which again gives us a few more investment opportunities.
All right, Richard Clode, great to see you. Thank you very much. Oracle's pre-market pop, good for shareholders, but even better for co-founder and chairman Larry Ellison. Based on the pre-market move, his total fortune is now worth more than $350 billion, putting him on track for a $76 billion gain just today, and within striking distance of Elon Musk's personal worth of $384 billion. That's according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. Just for some added context here, Elon Musk's biggest single-day jump, that was $36 billion back in April of 2025. Ellison's more than double that. All right, turn our attention now to D.C., but more on AI. Turning to Washington, lawmakers on Capitol Hill today unveiling a new bill around that tech that's aimed at cutting all the red tape. Emily Wilkins has new details on that legislation, and she joins us now. Emily, good morning.
Good morning, Frank. Well, yeah, CNBC got a first look at a new AI bill that will allow federal regulations to be waived or modified for certain AI products. The chair of the Senate Commerce Committee, Ted Cruz, is unveiling the bill today, and it would basically require the federal government to create this secure testing area for AI products, known as a regulatory sandbox. From there, companies and regulators would work together, would see how the AI software works first in that enclosed sandbox, and then decide whether those products could get a temporary waiver from certain federal regulations, while protecting things like privacy and safety. So, for example, an AI product that could screen for cancer could get a waiver from the FDA that would allow them to follow a modified version of HIPAA while still ensuring patient privacy. Now, a regulatory sandbox was part of President Trump's AI action plan, but Cruz said that laws are needed as executive orders alone can, of course, be overturned by the next administration. He said in a statement to CNBC that the new framework can turbocharge economic activity, cut through bureaucratic red tape, and empower American AI developers while protecting human flourishing. Now, the bill is just one of several that Cruz plans to release as part of his new AI plan, first shared with CNBC. Other pillars of the plan include preventing AI from being used in scams, preempting state laws on AI to create a national standard, and mitigating impacts that AI could have on the workforce. Now, Michael Kratsios, who's the director of the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy, which would oversee the sandbox under the legislation, will be testifying on AI at a Senate Commerce hearing today. And coming up at 8:40, we do have Senator Ted Cruz joining Squawk Box, and we will be interviewing him then on this bill and what his plans are for AI. Frank?
Wilkins live in D.C. Emily, great to see you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. We're live from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. I'm Becky Quick along with Joe Kernan and Andrew Ross Sorkin. And right now, it's a mixed picture when you're looking at the U.S. equity futures. Dow futures off by about 70 points.
About $261 a share. Earnings and revenue falling slightly short of estimates, but nobody's going to focus on that right now. AI demand is what is powering that stock higher, 30% higher. The company expecting cloud infrastructure revenue of $18 billion this year. That's a 77% increase. And Oracle signed 4 multi-billion-dollar contracts in the latest quarter, including with OpenAI and Google. Here's the company's CEO on the earnings call speaking about the cloud business and its RPO, which is its backlog.
It was an excellent quarter, and demand for Oracle Cloud infrastructure continues to build. I expect we will sign additional multi-billion-dollar customers and that RPO will likely grow to exceed $500 billion. The enormity of this RPO growth enables us to make a large upward revision to the cloud infrastructure portion of our financial plan.
And Oracle Chairman Larry Ellison also speaking on the call. Here's what he had to say about AI.
It's AI inferencing that will change everything. Oracle is aggressively pursuing the AI, and we're not doing badly in the AI training market, by the way. But inferencing's bigger. Oracle is aggressively pursuing the inferencing market, as well as the AI training market.
And with this morning's jump in Oracle shares, Ellison's stake in the company now worth about $350 billion. If that gain holds through today, his net worth would increase by more than $70 billion. And according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, the previous single-day record for an increased net worth was $36 billion. That was for Elon Musk last April, when Tesla shares gained more than 22% in a day. This gain would smash that record.
And I think we're up near 800 billion now for the market cap for
882.
Yep.
Yeah, closing in on. I did it quickly.
Well, I'm just looking at it's behind you on the screen. It's behind you on the screen.
To 312.
882 with these gains, if you count.
So he owns a lot. Still owns obviously a lot of the company.
The other thing I think that he said on the conference call that was so important is that AI is so important. Oracle, he said, doesn't generally deal with CEOs, but now they're dealing with CEOs regularly and even heads of state.
Yep.
Because this is such an important play. And man, they are ramping up fast.
And they'll own TikTok sooner or later, too.
Safra Katz also said that they're not investment light, the way Wall Street says, but they're investment sort of light because they're spending their money on a lot of equipment, but not on land, not on buildings like some of their competitors.
I need my commentary for woot, woot, woot commentary. I do not think he's a dirtbag. And I don't think billionaires are zero-sum people. I think they create this.
Oh, you're going back to the book from yesterday, Dirtbag?
Yeah, I don't think he's a dirtbag. I think the guy didn't want to be called a billionaire. He didn't want. He said, "I'd rather be called a dirtbag than a billionaire."
Right.
And just really, just disparaging billionaires and that's he's not the only one. If you ask, probably if you did a poll now, probably 50% of these crazy people on the left would say that billionaires are bad for society, and I don't understand it. It's not. And it's the old thing where Bono said, and maybe over in Ireland, you point at the hill and say, I'm going to get that guy over here in the United States. Say, I want to be that guy.
Right. It's
not a zero-sum game. Think of all the employees think of all the shareholders and how they've been enriched. Think of all the tax revenue that comes. Think of all the way that it is revolutionized
backdrop of what's happening
software.
With the mayoral race in this town, and wonder again.
Is there another way to do it?
Wonder if that's the case. Wonder if there are people saying, yeah, we want to.
But is there another way to do it? Is there something? Is there something that we should cap about if he's the owner of all these Oracle shares, because he's the founder and this, the guy that's responsible for everything? Should there not, and his stake goes to $350 billion? Is there something the government should do to prevent that from happening over and over again? Or should there something the government be doing to help it happen again and again and again?
Okay, now we're going to go to a very philosophical question.
No, we're not. I wanted you to just say no. I didn't want you to. I don't want you to say anything about it.
I know where he's going to go. Because there's a valid question around what you do with the taxation around that, right?
Oh, I wasn't even going to go there. But
that's a good place. That's an okay place to go. Because if he never sells it, then he never.
I think there is a big taxation question, which is
on the capital gains, which will never be realized.
Capital gains, which is never going to be realized, and then therefore whether other Americans, the workers, effectively subsidize that wealth creation. So that is actually a real question. I was actually going to go somewhere else, which is...
I'm worried.
You had said, that do people want to be billionaires? I think people want to be billionaires. They just don't want to be known as billionaires. And that's actually a very interesting thing.
Is
why
bad.
Is that?
No, that's what I mean.
But I was going to say...
I think it comes from what happened with Occupy Wall Street.
But it's not just that. I think it's people don't like conspicuous consumption. I think it's the same reason.
They aren't necessarily. Some of them are. He's got a pretty nice boat.
I was going to say it's
not a boat. It's a ship.
It's the same reason why I think actually people admire Warren Buffett as much as they do.
Right.
Because he's somebody who still lives in the same home that he did in the beginning. He carries a green American Express card, not the platinum card. And there's a reason for that, because he's not trying to suggest to the world that somehow he has more or he is better than others. I actually think that's a huge part of what is going on here with this sort of idea of billionaires. By the way, I think the capitalistic system is the system.
But
I'm just saying it's...
That's a fair point. Conspicuous consumption.
I think there's something to this idea about why people get, and this is about inequality and why people get upset about it and this and that, beyond, like, should you want to be, yes, it would be great for everybody to be a billionaire, right? But everybody can't be a billionaire. But then it's also a question of what do you do with that money? How do you act with that money?
With great power comes great
things.
Responsibility. Exactly. With great money comes great responsibility, I think, too. It's, take it all back to Spider-Man.
It's like all or nothing, though. Either you decide, look, you don't, if a guy has $350 billion, you really don't need it. The 349 could be used for something else. You could make that argument. You take your billion and, live great for the rest of your life. We're going to use the 349 to do all this stuff for people that are. That's one way to go.
But then you take away
the other way is
and that's why performing more.
Elizabeth Warren can say that again and again and again, and no one's going to. I mean, on the face of it, it sounds normal. 3%, 3 cents on every dollar.
The problem is if you start putting those restrictions in place, it takes away the incentive for people to perform at their highest levels in terms of capitalism.
I think Larry Ellison's been a great thing for society and in everything that he's built, and I think it's been a positive. I don't understand.
Are there people out there who are saying otherwise?
About him? Not about him in particular, about billionaires.
Yeah,
about billionaires. Really, they hate billionaires. They want to get rid of billionaires. They're sick of it. They don't want billionaires. They think billionaires are horrible. Maybe if you inherit it, it's not quite as good. A developing story. A federal judge blocking President Trump from removing Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors pending.